Hey, Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more relationship stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story, which comes from a throwaway account, and it's updated 2 years later. It says 15 years ago, my then 18 female best friend, 18 female, got pregnant by my boyfriend, 20 male, of 3 years. And my family knew about it, but didn't tell me, so I ran from home. Now we are back in contact after 15 years, and my 33 female, mum, 59 female, demands I mend my relationship with the ex-boyfriend and ex-BFF. Hello again, everyone. I posted this story today, but from a different profile. I am new to Reddit and really have no idea how to work it. I really just wanted to share my story, so I'm trying again. Thank you to all who commented on my previous post. I never realized how many amazing people are on here, and I really appreciate the many advices that I was given. This is a long story that really started some 15 years ago. It really impacted my 33 female life, so please bear with me. When I was 18 and in my senior year of high school, I really believed my life was on a good track. I lived with my parents and 4 siblings, 23 male, 22 male, 20 female, and 14 female, and spent most of my days hanging out with my best friend Ashley, 18 female, and / my boyfriend of 3 years, Kyle, 20 male. Both Ashley's and Kyle's parents were best friends with my parents, so I knew both of them since we were in diapers. We spent holidays together, birthdays, and visited each other all the time as we lived in the same town. Ashley's been my friend for 18 years, and she truly was the person I trusted with everything. Sometimes our parents would joke that we are connected by the hip as we are together all the time. I've been dating Kyle for the last 3 years. I believed he was the love of my life and the one I would eventually marry. We were quite serious and even talked about getting married after he finished college. He was a sophomore at that point. Although I had every plan on going to university, I was quite content with the idea of being married to Kyle and being a stay-at-home mum. My parents loved Kyle and supported our relationship. I was really happy. I think I should note here that my sister, 20 female, was also dating Kyle's brother, 23 male, and that our siblings were very close. One day at the beginning of the school year, I noticed that Ashley was being very melancholic and detached. After a while of prodding, she told me she was pregnant. I was very surprised because I didn't know. She and her boyfriend broke up a while ago, and I didn't know she had anyone else like that in her life. I asked her who the father was, and she didn't want to talk about it, but in a way implied that the ex was the father. She was absolutely distraught, so I dropped the topic and just consoled her. I was with her when she told her family, and while her parents were disappointed, they promised to support her in whatever she decides. They tried to make her share the dad's name, but she refused and made me promise to stay quiet. They did not know she had a boyfriend at one point. I was there for her for the next 9 months. I went with her for an ultrasound doc's appointment. I was there for her when she was bullied in school for being pregnant. I helped her set up the nursery. I was there when she was sick or just felt down. I held a baby shower for her, went shopping with her. I even took some parenting classes with her. We chose names together, and she even asked me to be with her in the delivery room. I noticed that the pregnancy was really taking a toll on her emotionally and physically, and I tried to support her in every way possible. She was my best friend, always there for me, and I loved her. Some 2 weeks before her due date, I went to the mall to run some errands and ran into her ex. Although I promised never to contact her, the knowledge of my friend's emotional state sent me into a fit of anger, and I confronted him. I gave him a piece of my mind, told him what a piece of shit he was for leaving his ex pregnant and alone and not caring for his unborn child. He was shocked and said that he had no idea what I was talking about. Ashley never told him about the pregnancy. When I told him she was 9 months pregnant at the time, he said that it was not possible for him to be the father as they broke up over a year ago and he's had no relations since then. I was confused but apologized for yelling at him in the middle of the mall. After that, he became snarky, said some nasty stuff, and mentioned that maybe I should ask Ashley's friend Kyle if he is the daddy. I didn't really think about his words in any way. Kyle and Ashley have been friends their entire lives. We were always very close. because of our parents' relationship, but they never showed any signs of being anything more. That evening, my younger sister, 14 female, and I were preparing to have a movie night. I began ranting to her about confronting Ashley's ex and his words. My sister, who is usually very outspoken, got quiet and didn't really respond to anything I said. After a while, she excused herself and went to the bathroom. I decided to go and get some snacks and went downstairs to the kitchen and heard younger sister berating my mother. This part of my memory is really fuzzy as I was dealing with lots of emotions. My sister told my mum about me running into Ashley's ex and his words, and told my mum she no longer wanted to hide from me the fact that Kyle was Ashley's baby father. I was shocked, absolutely shocked. I stumbled into the kitchen and demanded an explanation. Both my mum and my sister became white as a sheet as they saw me, and my sister started crying her eyes out. My sister explained to me some things I learned from other people later, that during the end of the summer break, Kyle and Ashley attended the same house party, got drunk, and slept together. Ashley got pregnant and told Kyle, but they were both ashamed and afraid of telling me. They also didn't share this with their parents. Ashley, however, couldn't keep the secret and told her mum and dad, who told Kyle's parents and later to mine as well. This all happened when Ashley was in her first trimester. By her second trimester, all of my siblings, Kyle's and Ashley's siblings, knew about this. Everyone except for me. I simply cannot explain the way I felt. I was physically ill for the next 3 days and I couldn't speak to anyone. My parents were apologetic but explained that they didn't want to see me hurt or ruin everyone's relationship. I did not speak with Kyle or Ashley, although they bombarded me with phone messages and calls and also came to my house. I refused to see them. At one point, Kyle's mum came to our house and my mum allowed her into my room. While I was lying in my bed, still ill and just emotionally drained from the betrayal, she tried to convince me to forgive them and how Ashley and the baby need me. I said nothing. 2 weeks later, Ashley went into labor. I learned from my parents that she had a hard delivery. She lost a lot of blood and needed an emergency C-section. Kyle apparently was at the birth. I was distraught, inconsolable because of the betrayal by both. Because I planned to be there and now physically and emotionally couldn't. Because I was looking forward to this moment for months. So many reasons. My older sister immediately went to the hospital to be with her boyfriend. My other siblings weren't at home, so I was left alone with my parents. All I wanted was to lay in my bed or cuddle in my bed with my mum and cry all my feelings out. My mum received a call from Ashley's mum. She came to my room and told me that she and dad were going to the hospital. I was perplexed and asked her to stay with me. She said that Ashley's parents need all the support they can get and they will discuss everything later. I tried to tell her not to go and that I also need their support, but she said to not be selfish, and they left. I was left alone at the house and I just couldn't comprehend what happened in the last few weeks. I couldn't believe that my parents would go and support someone who hurt me so much, while I was also here suffering. Am I really selfish to think like that? I don't know when, but my sadness turned into rage, the kind I never experienced before. In a fit of combined emotions and feelings of betrayal, I started packing my bags and decided to leave home. It didn't take a while, but I started having second thoughts and just sat in the living room feeling empty. After a while, I received a text from my sister. The text said that Ashley gave birth to a healthy girl and they were both okay. She attached a pic of the newborn and told me they named her Sarah, the name Ashley and I chose some months ago. She sent a second text a while later telling me that my parents and she were going to join Ashley and Kyle's parents in going to a bar in town to celebrate. I don't remember much after that. I think I was just consumed by everything and my memory is very foggy. I left, I took a train and left. I stayed in a hostel in Phoenix for a while. I got a job at a store and planned to finish high school there. My parents, siblings, Kyle and Ashley tried to contact me. My mum was sending me a panicked voicemail demanding me to come back. They also reported me as a missing person, but I don't think it went anywhere as I was 18. Anyway, soon afterwards I met Dean, 21 male. He also lived in Phoenix and had a complicated relationship with his family. We really connected and became friends soon. He helped me a lot at that time. I struggled. I had no idea of how to take care of myself or how to literally be an adult. He introduced me to his group of friends, helped me finish high school. I moved in with him and his friends. He helped me deal with my pain. I really struggled at one point and also had some regrets. I wanted to see a therapist, but I most definitely couldn't afford it. He was there for me and supported me through everything. I don't think I would have lasted long without him. We began dating after a year. He inherited some money from his grandpa and decided to move across the country to the big city. Although we weren't together for long, he asked me to go with him. I was a bit reluctant because we both had a lot of emotional baggage and I was still very insecure in my situation, but I did go. We moved, got jobs, and tried to survive. Soon after my 21st birthday, we decided to get married. It was a crazy, spontaneous decision, but we did it. I enrolled in university and Dean helped me pay for it. He himself opened a company that took off and we're able to live more comfortably. I was in uni and also worked a part-time job to contribute. We had our ups and downs but somewhat survived. After uni, I started working in this company and we slowly built it up. When I look back now, I don't think I was in love with Dean when we got married. I loved him, but I wasn't in love. But he was there for me, always, unconditionally, and today I don't think I could love him more. He's the love of my life. We've been married for 12 years, and now we have a 2-year-old son and a 6-month-old son. Sometimes I regretted leaving my family behind, but I just couldn't go back. It was very painful. I felt like my parents chose Ashley and Kyle over me. I did go to a therapist when I was 25 and tried to deal with my emotions. Last year, at the beginning of the pandemic, I received an email from a 14-year-old named Evelyn. She explained that she was my niece, my older sister's and Kyle's brother's kid. She knew about me and wanted to meet me. Although I was reluctant to speak to her, we did exchange some emails. Let me note that she did not know what transpired 15 years ago, so the conversations were pretty innocent. We talked about her school, interest, and she talked about my family. I learned I had 10 nieces and nephews. I also learned that Kyle married Ashley 4 years after I left and had 2 sons besides Sarah. My parents continued to have a friendship with Kyle and Ashley's family and to me. It really felt like my family continued their normal life despite me being gone. She tried to talk to me about what happened, but I didn't really think it was my place to explain things to her. So I simply said that relationships change and things happen in life that make us go our separate ways. We continued talking every so often for almost a year. In her email this January, she expressed how the pandemic had a big effect on her entire family, and how my parents were struggling to keep their house, and both my brothers lost their jobs and struggled to keep up with the cost. I was surprised at her knowledge of this, as she was only 14, but the hardship was also causing tensions between her parents. I started to deal with a lot of guilty feelings and regrets. I also just had my baby, so that was causing me a lot of emotion. I talked to my husband and he was very supportive and told me he would be there for me whatever I decide. We are financially stable and the pandemic didn't have a great impact on our finances. We are not rich but are able to live comfortably. After learning some more details and talking with Dean, we decided to help my parents with their house. A week ago we flew back to my home state. I saw my family for the first time in 15 years. I had so many emotions, regrets, pains from the past, feelings of betrayal. My parents was, I think, relieved to see me. It was just such a weird day. We had a lengthy conversation and agreed to try and have some sort of cordial relationship. It's been so long and I'm very awkward with them. Sometimes they feel like strangers. Dean and I spent a week there and we continued to have a conversation, and I truly believe that we're on a path to having a friendly yet distant relationship. But that my mum started insisting I have a sit-down conversation with Kyle and Ashley. She explained that she wants to go back to the way things were. I told her I refused to talk to them. Although I moved on, I simply have no ties with them now and don't want to rehash anything with them. I told her I'm prepared to try and establish a relationship with them, as they are my family and I truly came to care for my niece. But that I don't want anything to do with Kyle, Ashley, or their family. I never demanded them to cease their relationship with their friends, but I don't want one. Dean supports me. My mum called me selfish and said I simply must try and heal our relationship. I told her I will not negotiate and that it's on her to decide whether or not she wants to have a relationship with me. She said okay, but 2 days later, I received a phone call from Kyle's mum. I did not give her my number, and she demanded, yes, demanded, I talk with Kyle and Ashley as my return caused tensions in their relationship and their emotional health. I hung up. I called my mum and confronted her. Apparently, she gave that woman my number to heal our family bonds. I told her that she is choosing them over me again. She cried and yelled at me that I am selfish and that she just wants her family back. I hung up. It's been days since I spoke to any of them, although my mum and Kyle's mum keep on calling. Although I think I am right and I believe I should prioritize my well-being and the well-being and happiness of my husband, who's been behind me 100% and even told my mum off, and my sons, I'm starting to have some regrets. I don't know if I should listen to my mum and speak to Ashley and Kyle. I question whether I was overreacting 15 years ago. I'm questioning whether I am truly being selfish for not actively trying to repair the relationship. I would really appreciate any advice or opinion on what to do in this situation. Suddenly, I'm questioning the entire course of my life. I'm so lost and I don't know what to do. Now, I don't know if this is a jump-in statement, but in my opinion, in this particular story, you go no contact with them once again. They haven't changed. They're still not prioritizing you. They still don't care about your feelings in this matter. They want to go back to normal. Just looking at them as a reminder of the betrayal that you faced all those years ago. You're never going to be able to look at those people in the same way again. Wow, whenever I look at stories like this and you face betrayal of cheating and stuff, you're never going to be able to look at that person the same way again. From my perspective anyway. And it's not just a betrayal from them as well, it's from your whole family. They were claiming that they're trying to save you from pain and all this sort of stuff. No, they wasn't. And the one time you was asking for some support, they just abandoned you and then went out celebrating afterwards. Cheeky bastards. But Riri says your mother hasn't changed. Her priority is still her friends and their children. It certainly isn't you. She showed that at the time and she showed it again now. She doesn't respect you or your boundaries. She certainly feels no regret. Cut ties, speak to your niece if you want, but no one else. Your mother will never change. You're the victim in all of this, and they are too self-absorbed and selfish to see it. Your family is toxic. I've reread this post multiple times and honestly just run. Your mother doesn't value you. They showed no regard for your emotional well-being or mental health. Only your younger sister showed a little. I mean, they even went to the hospital and then out to celebrate the baby's birth. It's like your pain was nothing. They have all betrayed you so very much. You deserve better. Keep your chin high and walk away. Learns from experience says, sounds like clear confirmation that leaving your parents behind 15 years ago was the right decision and you should go back to no contact. Your mum is absolutely trampling all over you. She just flat out doesn't care what you want or need or what's best for you. She only cares about what's best for her, even if it's to your detriment. I'd pack up and take off again and let family, not your mum, obviously know that you'd love to stay in contact, but if anyone even brings up Ashley and Kyle, you'll cut them off for good. Also, for your information, the ex-boyfriend's reaction, not knowing about the pregnancy, but making a comment about her friend Kyle if he's the father, tells me he suspected of them having an affair long before Ashley got pregnant. There's a good chance they'd been seeing each other longer while you were going out with Kyle, and the pregnancy just got them caught. Regardless, you are absolutely not overreacting. Spectrum says, isn't it funny how they keep calling you selfish because they feel comfort in having things be not awkward with their friends is way more important than you, your trust, your betrayal, and even their relationship with you. They keep using that word. I don't think it means what they think it means. And one more comment from Mocha who says, I can't believe your whole family kept you in the dark about something like that. Your mum created a very specific type of life for herself and clearly has decided that maintaining the image she wants is more important than the reality. Which is that her best friend's son was a dog and cheated on you. And your best friend was morally bankrupt and let you be her support system when she was fucking your boyfriend that she knew you were in love with. You did the right thing by cutting them out. By the way, I'm sure you've figured this out by now, but Ashley's ex making the comment about Kyle tells me that Kyle and Ashley were probably sleeping together behind your back for a while. They just got caught when she got knocked up, but thought telling you it was a drunken mistake would make it easier to forgive than an ongoing affair. What exactly was their plan? You would have figured it out in the delivery room when Kyle came to hold his son. Your mum chose her friend over her daughter. Change your number and let everyone know they're cut off if they bring up the Ashley and Kyle situation. So OP updates the post 2 years later and says, my gosh, it's been 2 years since I posted this. A lot of people have been asking me for an update. First of all, I want to thank all of the wonderful people who've been sending me updates and lovely messages. I'm truly grateful. A lot of things have happened in the last few years. Not all great. Without making these 100 pages long. I never mentioned my little sister in my original post. Her relationship with my parents went downhill after I left home, and she went no contact with them when she was 20. I received her number from our older sister, and although it was awkward at first, it's been 15 years after all, we did start speaking again. She was very angry at me for leaving. A lot has happened in her life, and it wasn't the easiest. She has a toddler and a baby of her own, and I have to say that the kids have helped us both bond again. She's my best friend, and we talk every day. As for my other siblings, I'm in regular contact with both my brothers, although we aren't close. My older sister and I have a good relationship now, but last year we've had a longer period of not speaking. As she is married to Kyle's brother, it was hard for her to deal with all of our and their family drama. We are cool now and I have a lovely relationship with my nieces and nephews. I didn't go to my niece's birthday party, it just seemed like it would be too hard for me. Now, to my parents. This one is a little painful for me to write, and at the time it felt like I was reliving all of those shitty emotions I had at 18. My mum didn't let up with her pestering over me not talking with Kyle and Ashley. Her calls for that continued for months, even after I was home again. It bordered on emotional blackmail. She blamed me for not honouring her wishes for her friendship problems and health problems, and even accused me of keeping her grandbabies from her. Last June, I had my daughter, and it seems like that sent her completely over the rail. What I mean by that, 100+ calls a day, messages every 20 minutes to pester me about random things, sending me updates about people I never want to know about. When she started pestering Dean, I was done. I was afraid to block her, so I spoke to my father. This was probably the first time in the last 17 years that we had a true heart-to-heart conversation. I was emotionally drained, tired from caring for 3 children, and just over everything. I've probably poured all of my feelings and emotions onto him. I don't know what happened to them afterwards. He doesn't speak much about it. Her calls slowly ceased, and something else must have happened because in August he filed for a divorce. My father and I are in regular contact, although I don't think we'll ever be back to normal. My mum is devastated. In August her calls became insane, and apparently not just with me. I've changed my number since then, and as of February she has not been able to reach me. I've been told by one of my brothers that she has problems with anxiety and depression, and lost a lot of friends. I don't really know whether or not she continues to have a relationship with Kyle and Ashley's family. I don't want to have anything to do with her anymore, nor do I want her near my kids. The things she said to me and about my husband, whom she really doesn't know, after 15 years of no contact, is crazy. Although I regret not having a mum, I feel like trying and fighting to repair the little remnants of our relationship would be a waste of my emotional energy and just pure torture. As for Kyle and Ashley, I received some calls from Kyle's mum, as I mentioned in my original post. I blocked her and no other calls have been received from anyone. I really don't know what they are doing or where they are. I've had no contact with them. The only thing that really happened is that in August when shit went down, my brother-in-law, Kyle's brother, brought me a letter apparently written by Ashley. I've not opened it, and I really don't know if I want to. I feel like I've moved on from them, but on the other hand, I'm curious as to what she has to say after so many years. However, that itself could bring back bad emotions. I'm doing okay now, with my babies and Dean, who is a real trooper in all of this. I'm trying to focus on my family, and I really hope that this is all behind me. For all of you, thank you again. If anything else happens, I'll try to update sooner. Wow, and I'm glad OP continued with their no contact and is further going down that route, especially with a mum. Holy shit. It just goes to show, when OP's other siblings are going no contact with mum, what's going on here. But what about the letter? What would you do in that situation? Would you open that letter or not? Usually I'm someone myself who likes closure, and I think that I would open it, but reading OP and their thoughts and feelings and the way that they've explained things, I would say it wouldn't be a good idea for OP to open that letter. Obviously, it's totally up to OP, and I'm not giving advice on that or anything, but just the way that they've explained things and, like I said, their thoughts and feelings going through this, opening that letter might, like they said, bring back some bad emotions. Because I can only imagine it's going to be a lot of sorries, I'm sorry I did this, but I can't really see it ever fixing that relationship. I can never ever see their relationship going back to what it once was all those years ago. For me, looking at that person, that's just going to be betrayal in my face, but I don't know. What do you guys make of this one, and what would you do with that letter? Would you be someone to open it or not? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's story and showing your love towards the channel, towards me, and towards each other as well. Sharing your pet tax with me. Had someone sharing that they, whilst they're driving up and down their country in their big rig, that they listen in as well, and stopping by the Waffle Houses as they're listening. Love to hear it. And just a huge thank you again, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.